Hi everyone, Jedediah Thomas here with the Online Wealth Machine. So today I just wanted to go over a little bit about assets. Now, I got my introduction to assets actually from reading a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad. Some of you may have heard of it, some of you may not. It's written by Robert Kiyosaki, and it is, in my opinion, one of the best books on personal finance ever written. It doesn't work on content, it changes your entire context and your entire paradigm about how to view finances, how to view money, how to look at, going about building your life, your income, and your empire. And it's very, very, very powerful. And one of the things that the book goes over is talking about, your home is not an asset. And basically the idea is that his definition of an asset is anything that puts money in your pocket without having to work. And so by that definition, a house that you own and live in and either mortgage or rent or whatever is actually a liability. And that includes even if you own it and you're paying property tax because, money is coming out of pocket. Now, that's an awesome definition, definitely opened my eyes about, building value assets. And it basically focuses on cash flow. So his idea is an asset is anything that produces cash flow, a positive cash flow. And you're trying to build your asset column. You're trying to increase your cash flow, which will cover your expenses. And then, it helps you get out of debt, helps you reduce your liabilities. So then your expense column is ever decreasing, your asset column and your income columns are ever decreasing, and then you stay out of bad debt. So that is really, really awesome to think that way. I definitely agree with him about the power of assets. I do also want to add, I know that's kind of how he views the world. I do want to add to that in that I believe that other things can be assets as well, including your home. So this would be more of a definition of something that stores value long term or something that benefits the rest of your life so that you can increase your cash flow. So in the sense of owning your own home, on paper, it's not an asset. It's not putting money into your pocket. It's taking money out of your pocket. But off paper, you could have a completely different life having your own home as opposed to being homeless. You have one place that you can grow your roots, build your family, and it gives you peace of mind in a way that, not knowing where you're going to live next month may not be able to do. And that peace of mind can give you the ability to focus on other things that make money, learning skills or obtaining other assets. So there's kind of an intangible benefit to a lot of these things. And that could be for a car or anything that costs you money. Of course, you could directly turn it into an asset, according to him, if you rent out your home to different people and you have kind of a net positive cash flow. Or you could use your car to DoorDash or do Uber or something like that, and then that turns that into an asset. But even with a car, even if it's taking money out of your pocket, it's allowing you to get around, take care of the things that you need to take care of. If there's an emergency, depending on where you live, you can evacuate. And it's very important to kind of consider the overall picture of it. An asset is not necessarily defined as any one thing. But the overarching idea of building your asset column, building things that have value, building things that store value, building things that create cash flow, as long as you're focusing on that, that's actually, really the real lesson behind all of that, because most people think that they don't think like that. They think their home is an asset in the sense that it only stores value, and it's kind of an on-paper thing. And in accounting, yes, that is the case. You have your asset column, your liability column, and you weigh them out, and then you have your equity, and you have all this stuff. But they still live their life as though there is no tomorrow. Okay, they focus on accruing credit card debt, and their car loan isn't what it is because they need the car. It's because they want the car. It encourages people to live above their means. And, living within your means has been preached by pretty much every financial guru in the history of ever, because, it is reality. And there's two sides of that. One, you can either decrease your expenses, and that's what a lot of these, more frugal type gurus teach. You cut your Starbucks every day, and you cut this out of your life, and you cut the joy out of your life, and then you cut your kids out of your life because they're costing you money, and then you cut your wife out of your life, and by the end you're living in a cardboard box, but you don't have any expenses, so hey, life is good. That's a bit of an exaggeration, but my point is that there's only so many expenses you can cut. At a certain point, there's no way you can cut more expenses. The other side of that is you can increase your income. Okay, most people don't think about that. There's a lot of ways to increase your income. You could do garage sales, you could learn a skill, a side hustle, doing DoorDash or Uber, anything that gives you that, extra little oomph to get through your monthly bills without taking on bad consumer debt, bad credit card debt is extremely important. So what I wanted to say really is that anything can be an asset. It doesn't have to be something spectacular like a rental property or, a 500 employee business or anything like that. Even this video, okay, will go into my asset column, not on paper because it's like really difficult to quantify, but it's something that I've made once, I'll never have to make again, and it's there. If I get even one lead for it, it's been worth the few minutes that I've spent putting into it, and it's never going to go away. Okay. And even if I don't get any leads for it, it's practice. I'm getting better at public speaking. I've done public speaking for a long time, but it was always more scripted. So I'm kind of learning myself how to do on the fly speaking in a more professional way. So, I'll get better over time, and this video is practice, but the point is that I don't have to keep remaking the video. It is now an asset, and even if it gives me some money, that's cash flow in my pocket. And so you don't have to think so big. And, in my life has been, quite crazy for quite some time. There was a period where I was basically bankrupt, homeless, in and out of, different living situations. One time I actually had a tent with an extension cord going to a house so that I had an entire office set up in my tent. Like, that's how ridiculous things have been in my life. But even through that time, I had, a Netflix account. And, if you're following the cut your expenses gurus, then that's an unnecessary expense that I don't need. But things were so bad for me, I treated that as an asset, because that's like one of the things that kept me from losing my mind completely. I didn't have anything else. That was the one thing that kept me sane. I was like, look, no matter what happens, I can't get rid of this subscription because I need some way out of, thinking about my situation. So I just want to impress upon you that you do want to increase your assets. You do want to understand that there are different type of assets. There are cash flowing assets. There are, store value assets such as insurance policies, such as precious metals. They do different things. You don't want to get stuck in one mindset. Oh, I only have to do cash flowing assets, which is what a lot of people think when they read Robert Kiyosaki. And that's actually not entirely true. I've played Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow game, Cash Flow 101, Cash Flow 102, more than 80 different times, like 80 times. And every time I play it, I learn something new. And it's not always the lessons that he's trying to teach in his book. It's the most powerful financial learning tool you could have. If you've not played Cash Flow 101 or 102, definitely get it. There's a free version of 101 online. You can get the board game version of both of them. But it's very interesting because I always win the game compared to whoever I'm playing against, but it's hardly ever because I'm following Robert Kiyosaki's, lesson outright. What I'm doing is actually focusing on non-cash flowing assets first. I'm focusing on flipping houses, capital gains, flipping stocks, things like that take a tiny little bit of money and turn it into a massive amount of money. And then I take that massive amount of money and then I put it into stable cash flowing assets. And then it's those assets that give me enough cash flow to basically win the game, which is, where you don't have to work anymore. You have income producing assets no matter what you do. But most people, because they read the book, because they have this really narrow mindset about what an asset is, and there's nothing wrong with that, they focus entirely on cash flow first, even when they're broke. And that doesn't always work. So in my financial section in the Online Wealth Machine, I was talking about there are different levels of your finances. There's the survival phase, there's all these different phases, and a lot of people are in the survival phase. You have to be honest with your situation. Not everyone can walk out the door and start a multi-million-dollar business. If you have the skill set, great, go do it. What are you waiting for? But most people don't have that skill set. They don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to sell. They don't know how to market. They don't know how to do anything necessary. So what they need is a job. They need a stable job that pays their bills, and then they can start working on a little side hustle. And as they do that, then they can kind of scale more into that and less into their job, and then they can start to replace it slowly over time, and then eventually they can replace that and then generate multiple streams of income. But if you just focus everything on, okay, tomorrow I'm going to invest in cash flowing real estate properties, and you don't have any skills or experience, it's going to be very difficult for you to do that. So you need to be realistic about your situation. You need to be realistic about what assets are actually going to help you right now, what you can afford, and what you can do. And sometimes skill sets can be your best assets. But even a piece of paper can be an asset. I created a contract with somebody else, and they use another contract for their services. So every time they use their contract, I get paid as part of our contract. You can be creative. The whole point of creating an asset is to be creative. And that's what I really want to put on you, basically, is don't get narrow focused. Don't think that an asset is this one specific thing and then it's out of reach. Be creative. Think outside the box. Because the same thinking that got you into your current situation is not going to be the thinking that gets you out of your current situation. Even if you're not responsible for your situation, if it was put on you by somebody else, which happens, it happened to me, you're still responsible for fixing it. And you have to learn new things. You have to think in different ways so that you can get out and really benefit from it. So definitely check out Rich Dad Poor Dad if you have not. It's an amazing book. It absolutely changed my life. It is one of the top 1, 2, or 3 books that I've ever read in my life. So definitely check that out. But don't get stuck in the mindset of, it's only this way and no other, because every situation is different. Definitely apply that to your own situation in your own way and make the best decisions possible for you and your family. But keep it in mind that the only way to wealth is by building your asset column, by building your cash flow and replacing eventually your job income, whether that's right now or in retirement, with assets, protecting your money and also giving you money in cash flow. Thank you. And if you're not in the Online Wealth Machine already, I'm actually going to put this video out to the public as well. So it's going to be in the Online Wealth Machine. It's going to be in, on my normal profile. Please join the Online Wealth Machine. At 100 members, I will be releasing a messenger sales mastermind that I did that is really going to take your messenger game to the next level. And, there's going to be awesome content. There's already a bunch there, but, let's grow this community. Let's bring people, invite people, and really make it the best, most vibrant community and most valuable community online. Thank you.